Hi, today we're going to discuss what are the things that a sole proprietor needs to comply for BIR requirements. So, first, um, the sole proprietor needs to go to Regional District Office or RDO where his business is located, then fill up BIR Form 1901, also known as Application for Registration. That's for sole proprietor. Third, submit completed registration form together with the following. So, the certificate of registration from DTI, barangay clearance, mayor's business permit, proof of address, such as contract of lease if renting, or certificate of land title if owned, and valid IDs if applicable. File and claim TIN or taxpayer's identification number within 3 to 5 minutes. That is, if the sole proprietor does not have one. And filing or claiming of TIN is free of charge. So number 5, pay the registration form, BIR form 0605 worth 500 pesos. 6, register your 4 books of accounts and receipts or invoices. So we have cash receipts or sales subsidiary book, cash disbursements and or purchase subsidiary book, general journal book, and general ledger book. Number 7, submit photocopy of BIR form 0605 and claim your certificate of registration, also known as COR, COR, or BIR form 2303. Now here are the most common BIR forms that you will encounter. First, BIR form number 0605. This is the form used for the registration of business, and the amount is 500 pesos. The deadline is on or before January 31st. So be sure you will not going to forget registering your business annually. Second is BIR form number 2551Q. That is for the quarterly payment of percentage tax. So at this point, the tax rate is 1%. And the deadline for the submission and also payment is every 25th of the following month. BIR form number 2303, also known as Certificate of Registration or COR, you are going to receive this once only upon date of registration. If there are any changes in terms of the status of your business or for your location, then of course there's a need for you to update your BIR form 2303. Fourth, BIR form number 2550M. This is regarding the payment of your monthly VAT declaration. That is, output tax less input tax. Payment is due every 20th of the following month of the quarter. So, if your business is going to exceed 3 million for the entire year, then you are bound to comply in submitting VAT or BIR forms 2550M or 2550Q for quarterly VAT declaration. So, for example, January and February, you'll be using 2550M, but come March, you'll be using 2550Q. They're going to consolidate all the VAT information for the first quarter, and whatever is the residual figure will form part of your payment on the first quarter. Next, BIR form number 1601C. So if you have an employee and you're withholding from their salaries, that's something that you also have to make reporting and payment, and the due date is every 10th of the following month. BIR form number 0619E, that is if you're withholding any payments from your suppliers. It also has the same deadline as 1601C, that is every 10th of the following month. BIR form number 1601EQ, or the quarterly expanded withholding tax declaration. The deadline is every 30th of the following month of the quarter. BIR form number 1701Q, or the income tax declaration. This is a quarterly being submitted. So for example, for transactions that fall from January to March, the due date for the filing and payment is May 15. And for our second quarter, that would cover from April to June. The due date for filing is August 15. For the third quarter, that would be from July to September, and the due date for filing is November 15. But for the annual income tax return, that would be covering April 15 of the following year. BIR form number 16014CF. This pertains to alpha list of employees from whom taxes were withheld. It has to be submitted every January 31st of the following year. BIR form number 1604E, alpha list of expanded tax. The deadline for submission was March 1 of the following year. So, part of registering your business, you also need to apply for authority to print receipt and invoices. So, for new taxpayer, you have to fill out BIR form 1906. And the requirements there is that you have to provide BIR form 1901 at TIN and proof of payment, BIR form 0605, before they issue you the application of authority to print receipt and invoices. But for those registered taxpayers, and if you're going to apply for a reprint, there is a need to also submit the final and clear sample of receipt or invoices and a photocopy of proof of payment by BIR form 0605, previously approved authority to print invoice, certificate of registration BIR form 2303, and the last booklet printed. BIR forms 1905 is going to be used if what happened was the business is not doing well and the owner opted to close it. So he or she has to use BIR form 1905, and additional support for that would be it has to be supported by a letter of request stating reason for termination of business. The original certificate of registration has to be surrendered, as well as the book of accounts, the inventory list of unused receipts and invoices, unused receipts and invoices for cancellation. If it's a corporation or a partnership, then there is a need for a board resolution or a notice of dissolution. Now, in case of a death of a taxpayer, there is a need to submit the death certificate and the payment of estate tax, if any. So, I hope you learned something from this. Then we'll see you in the next video for the compliance to other regulatory requirements.